Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. I am covering the Moscow, Idaho Bryan Kohberger case. Let's talk about crime scene evidence. Let's talk about the crime scene of the Moscow home where 4 college students were brutally stabbed during the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. I just put out a series of tweets. I want everyone to check this out right here because the Moscow PD put out a statement 2 days after the murders occurred on the 15th of November, just 2 days after this brutal crime happened. And they said something very interesting in this statement I want to share with all of you. Check this out and then we will further discuss. This is my latest tweet on my Twitter account. Bryan Kohberger case, 6 months later. Now that we've seen the PCA and some of the evidence collected, let's revisit this statement by Moscow, Idaho police at the very beginning of the investigation. Evidence indicates that this was a targeted attack. So I attached this press release by the Moscow, Idaho police. It was dated November 15th, 2022. So just a few days after the murders happened. Moscow Police Department homicide investigation. The City of Moscow Police Department would like to address community concerns about public safety. We hear you and we understand your fears. We want you to know that we, like you, have been devastated and distressed by these young lives that were cut short needlessly. We determined early in the investigation that we do not believe there is an ongoing threat for community members. Evidence indicates that this was a targeted attack. And I highlighted it. Evidence indicates that this was a targeted attack. Let's continue with my tweet. Based on the list of evidence that we've seen in the released search warrant records, which pieces of evidence could indicate that this was a targeted attack? A lot of people believed at the time that the police were only saying that to calm community fears. So far, I can't see how any piece of evidence collected would lead me to the conclusion that this was targeted. Bryan Kohberger case, Moscow, Idaho. Let me know what you think. So I posted that on my Twitter. Follow me on Twitter because we have great discussions on my Twitter feed regarding the Bryan Kohberger case. A lot of people are replying and giving their comments and take. Let's talk about Moscow PD putting that out there, that they have evidence that this was a targeted attack. What do they mean by that? What type of evidence? Because I haven't seen that evidence in the PCA. In any probable cause affidavit. I haven't seen that during this, in the files and the records of the search warrant at Bryan's Steptoe apartment or any of those Pennsylvania records regarding Bryan's arrest. Where are they getting this information from? And why would they say that just 2 days after the crime? When they have evidence that it was targeted, what do they mean by that? Did they find something at the crime scene that they did not share with all of us? Share with the public, or maybe not even share with Bryan Kohberger's own defense attorneys who are trying to get discovery that the prosecution is not giving them. But what evidence do they have that it was targeted? Are we talking about drugs in the house? Are we talking about footprints, digital fingerprints left, Bryan Kohberger's fingerprints? I find that very strange because this was 2 days after the murders happened. They put this out and says it was targeted. Well, who was targeted? Because Bryan Kohberger was caught, 6 weeks later. Who was targeted out of the bunch of 4? If it was, are they talking about all 4 were targeted? Are they talking about just one individual targeted, or no individuals, but something else that had them feel like it was a targeted attack? Why would you come out? And the police are trusted officials. When the police put out things like that, we're supposed to believe it. So I don't know if they put that out by error or they really meant it, but I want to know. I want to know your thoughts about that. What evidence is there out there that this was a targeted attack with the Moscow, Idaho case? Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button, covering this case at all angles. What happened that early morning, November 13th, 2022, around 4 a.m. Who did it? Authorities think it's Bryan Kohberger. A lot of you do not think it's Bryan Kohberger. I personally think it's Bryan Kohberger. Why did he do it? Was there a motive here? Did he know any of the victims? Kaylee's father said, Steve Gonzalez said that there's no connection between Kaylee and Bryan Kohberger. Is there some sort of other connection that we're not aware about? Maybe the roommates, or maybe the roommates' friends that frequent that Moscow home. Maybe Bryan Kohberger knew one of them. Maybe Bryan Kohberger had something to do with the Sigma Chi party. Remember, because Bethany Funk said in the affidavit of probable cause, BF, that Ethan and Xana were at the Sigma Chi party to 1:45 a.m. That something happened on the route between. What's going on here, people? Trying to figure this out. I'll post more videos soon. Stay tuned.